What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Frank Macaluso. Another episode of the E30 N54. Yes, believe it or not, we're going to be doing more work on the E30 N54. We're going to continue to push forward with this project, and today we're going to be doing that with the low pressure fuel pump. And we're going to end up working on the slave cylinder installation with the hard line also installed all the way to the master cylinder. So we're going to get those two things, and then maybe we're going to do some other stuff too, just to continue to chip away at all the things that need to be done on this car, all the fine-tuning, little detail stuff that needs to be done in order to make this car a good condition, good value, to match the power and the engine bay that it's going to have. I want to match that and have everything work. Everything needs to work in this car. So let's just continue to push through that together, and I'll show you what I'm doing with the low pressure fuel pump start, and we'll get there. We'll get there, guys. We'll do this. Come on, here we go. Judging by what I see here, I see some new connectors, some new fuel hose. I think that this has actually been worked on before. We got some 8mm bolts here that'll end up taking this entire thing out. So we got to take it out. We got to take the fuel send line out. We can take this out. We can take a look and see what's going on in there. As you can see, there's two connectors. This guy here is the fuel pump send. You know, because it's a green wire with a purple stripe, that is always the fuel send on all BMWs made in the 80s and 90s. Always. Here we have a 3-wire sensor, which is probably the fuel level sensor. There's another fuel level sensor on this side, that's why I was over there before, is because I thought that was the pump, but actually the pump is on this side. But regardless, you need two sensors in order to get an accurate reading of the fuel tank level. And yeah, let's just take this guy out and put it on the bench. So let's skip through that and get this thing on the bench. So I got my N54 pump, and if I were to test it out really quick, you can probably hear very carefully. It's a strong pump, and it works well. So we're going to use that. However, taking a look at this guy, looks like it's actually a relatively new pump, almost brand new. The electronics look brand new, soldered in, nice and neat. I like it, but I can't confirm that it actually is rated for the power that the N54 needs to provide. So I want to clean it out, clean out the lines, replace the pump itself, because the pump is actually smaller than the pump that I'm going to be using. So I think, even though there's no badging on this thing, that it's actually not going to be able to handle. So let's clean out the lines real quick. All right, that was uneventful. But I will tell you, now I have a spare pump if I ever need it for anything. It does sound strong, it just feels strong, but I don't think it's going to be able to handle what we want. So I am going to replace it anyway. I wanted to finish it quickly, but you know, I don't want to sacrifice quality of materials for getting it done quicker. And this could have been very easily a 15-minute swap of the fuel pump, but I really didn't like this setup here that was basically squeezed into there and then into the pump. Had a couple of different grommets here. This actually, it makes me nervous, right? Because we're talking about higher pressures, and I don't really know exactly how this works. And I'm not really going to spend the time to figure it out. So what I decided to do is use some AN6 line with my favorite Oetiker clamps. And the Oetiker clamps are, yes, they're a one-time use, and it comes with, and you need to use a special pair of pliers in order to cut them, to clamp them, and you can just cut them with a Dremel. But these are my favorite clamps to use, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that, especially for high pressure situations, which is what we're dealing with, which is 5 bar. So I want to reinstall this. It should take no more than a couple of minutes, but I wanted to make sure that I was using the right type of line inside of there, and this was it. So I'm going to use the AN6 nylon stainless steel braided line inside of the fuel tank. You guys think I was just going to install the pump and just put it back in there and not test it? Of course I'm going to test it. It
fuel pump is in there, and yes, it is a green wire with a purple stripe. That is the wire designation from the fuel pump over to the fuse box. From the fuse box to the C101, it actually turns into a purple with a red stripe, and that's right there, that thick one right there, which I've then pumped out to this guy. And I want to make sure that I'm actually getting fuel flowing through the system and not having issues. So I have my ground wire hooked up. I have my trusty 12-volt supply, which is two 6-volt lantern batteries in parallel, and I have my fuel outlet line, which is the top one that's going out. So that's basically going to end up being this one, and I have it going to go into a container of gas. Just remember, this guy in the middle is your fuel return, and this guy on the bottom is your carbon canister line. So we got to put a carbon canister in there as well for emissions. But this is the fuel send. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't know, try to turn this around, and I'm actually going to need to put this. I need 2 hands for this. All right, I've got this guy there. I've got this guy there. I'm actually going to probably figure out if I'm going to hold this. I'll hold this. Probably hold it just like that with my knee. Great. And then do this. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. Oh, fuck. It was the wrong one. It was the wrong one. The middle one is the send. Holy mother of God, I was wrong. The middle one is the send. It's right there. Holy gosh. Okay, well, I'm glad I tested it, right? That was a lot of fuel. Okay, so I was wrong. Okay, apparently, and I should have known this, but I should have done the research beforehand, honestly, and I'm sorry about that. The fuel send line is on the middle, and the fuel return line is on the top. So now that I've got this this regulator here, that's going to end up, I need to know exactly which one's the fuel send and return. So this guy is the send, and it's going to go right into the AN fitting, and the return is going to go down into here. So I'll get that all fixed up. But for now, at least I know that the pump works. Pump definitely works. And now I can move on to the next thing in this video series, which is going to be the slave cylinder. Guys, we're going to be doing this guy right here, right? So I'm going to be working the same overall location. This is the old slave cylinder from the M20. Not good, old, won't work, not even gonna fit. So I gotta replace it with a N54 slave cylinder, which I have on the transmission, gotta extract it from that. I gotta put a stainless steel line on there, and that should be it. This should be pretty simple too. And you know what, for the sake of it, let's just do the accelerator wiring in this video too. We'll do the wiring for the accelerator pedal and installation of the pedal too. Best to do the acceleration pedal installation while the engine is out of the car, because you do need to get access to the other side of this footwell here for the mounting of the actual pedal bracket. So anyway, for now, let's do the slave cylinder and the stainless steel line. The stainless steel line that I got from Garagistic is a stock E30 line, meaning that this side here hooks up directly into the master cylinder side, and this here goes directly into the slave cylinder itself. This is the slave cylinder from the E90. Now, as you can see, it has a different type of hookup. This is actually a special type of proprietary hookup that BMW has. I don't know if they share it with other manufacturers. However, we're going to be converting actually this hookup to this style hookup by using a joint and another male joint here. So installing the slave cylinder in its location here, right up against the firewall. Now the transmission tunnel is like right here. So if I were to cut this line here and produce my flare, it's probably going to end up being something like right here perhaps, I'm thinking. And then I can start flaring, and then that way this guy here, which normally went into the slave cylinder, now has a place to go into, which is there. So it basically is going to look something like that. So it's very easy. I'm going to simply cut. I'm going to flare it with the nut already on, and then it's just a matter of taking this line and installing it right here onto the existing E30 line as it normally is. So this is going to get removed, and this line will end up going right here. So it'll basically just be a subset of like a replacement procedure and a little bit of customization. So this is actually really, really simple, guys. Not very difficult.
I'm gonna remove the slave cylinder here because I think it's gonna be a lot easier to install the two 13mm nuts while it's actually on the engine, and then just hook up the plumbing to it later. So I'm gonna do that, and I got a couple of plugs here that I'm gonna use to plug up the line after it's been removed. So let me take this out, just like that, and this should kind of, all right. So now you put, I think it's the pink one will work just fine. There we go. Perfect. So that guy will just hang out there, and then I'll put the slave cylinder right back on the engine, on the transmission. All right, let's talk about accelerator pedal wiring and installation for now. We have our pedal, we have our bracket that adapts the E30 lower mount to the actual E30 and the pedal. We have our connector that goes into the pedal assembly. We have our 6 pins, and we have our wires. These are 6 wires. We have 2 positive, which is the pink and the red, the 2 grounds, which is black and brown, and then the 2 signal wires, which is the green and the white. So all that we want to do here for now is basically just pin this connector and install this plate, because then this guy just slips right in. No big deal. So we need to figure out which wire is going to go into which pin. Now, honestly, it really doesn't matter as long as you mark them. However, I really want the red and the pink to be power. I want the ground and the black and the brown to be ground, and I want these 2 guys to be your signals. So I just wrote them down. I know what each of the 6 pins are. From my E36 N54 Integrators Guide shows the wiring for all 6 of these pins, so I was able to easily deduce which ones are powers, grounds, and which ones are the signal wires. So the 2 grounds are pin 1 and 2, black and brown. Pins 3 and 5 are your powers, and it's going to be pink and red. I could pick whatever colors I wanted, but I wanted to make sure that I have them marked up so that when I terminate them on the other end, on the X6001 connector, that I know exactly which pin it goes to, which obviously will be those 6 pins. So let's do a quick time lapse of stripping these out. We'll crimp these and we'll install them onto that, and then we'll use those little pink things in there to lock the connector so that the pins do not come out. Now that the wiring's basically done for the pedal, I want to remove the old pedal. Now, as you can see here, this guy's going to end up sitting just like this inside of where this pedal used to be. And it's got the same exact type of hookup as the existing pedal frame. So I need to basically remove the pedal, remove the linkage, and that allows me the room to get this guy in at the bottom, this is easy, right? This guy here is easy. It's this one here that you need to get like a spacer for and get it onto that location right back there. All right, all cleaned up, all vacuumed. You can see this guy is a little rusty, but it is not going anywhere. It's secure, and this guy ended up sitting right like this, just like that. And you can see that the location there is actually different. This guy is secured at the bottom. It's actually clicked into the lower bracket, and you can see there's the existing bolt hole, and there's the new one. You can see how it overlays, right? 1, 2. So it's definitely a misalignment, and there needs to be security on the backside, or else this is gonna end up wobbling like that, and that's no good. So now that I got my red dot there, it looks like it's still on this shelf. And what I'm gonna do is I've got a nut here. I'm gonna take that nut and put it right into position where I want it, and then I'm just gonna tack it down. That's it. I'm just gonna tack it down. Just 1 or 2 tacks is all this is gonna take to hold this in its position.
and I'm gonna make sure that I, make sure that the carpet doesn't, burn up in any way, shape, or form. But that's perfect, exactly what I want. And I'm just gonna lay a couple tacks down. That prevents me from having to drill through the footwell onto the other side and putting a bolt on there. I did that on my E30 N54, and I'm not really proud of it. So I'd rather take a more elegant approach here. And laying a couple tacks down is the best way to do this. Okay, that's a lot better. Good weld. Good solid weld. It's definitely not going anywhere, and it still threads on. So let's install this puppy and see how it looks. This guy really should be like that. Nice. Guy's sitting just like that. Okay, this is installed. It is really solid, very happy. And I need to install the wiring bundle, which is gonna go from here, right? It's gonna go right in there. It's gonna come up and snake over the transmission tunnel and into the E-box where the DME is gonna be located, because we're gonna be tapping into the 6 pins on the X6001 connector. What do you know? There it is right there, snaked over and back around. And there it's coming out. And it's going right through into the electronics hole, where comes over here. You see right there. So we have the harness hanging down. We're gonna plug it in, make sure that it's clocked correctly. Remember, I noted all the pins and the colors of the wires, so we're good there. Let's hear those clicks. 1, 2, good. Now it's time to have the pedal. Let's make sure I take this underneath the pedal. Slide it underneath, just like this. Good. Good. Nothing but a zip tie up here. Pedal's connected. It's secure. And that's it. Guys, that'll just about do us for this episode on Garageaholics E30 N54 project. My name is Frank Macaluso, and if you like what you see, please tell your friends. Tell everybody you know about what I'm doing here, because this car, when it's done, is going to be an awesome, awesome car. So I hope to share that with you in the next couple of weeks/month as I get this done and get the E30 N54 Integrator's Guide out to you for download. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.